Welcome to ELPA 6872 News. Our top story tonight is all about technology mishaps in higher education. Our first story broke just this week in the Chronicle of Higher Ed. It's the story of Kyle Kashuv, who is a survivor of the Parkland, Florida mass school shooting. Harvard University has just rescinded their offer of admission to him. While some of his fellow classmates and survivors advocated for gun control following the school shooting, Kashuv began to argue in support of gun rights. And in a Google Doc that was leaked recently, he uses racial slurs to refer to his shooting practice. Once this document was leaked, Kashuv addressed his comments in his own tweet, but never apologized for what he said. In late May, Harvard sent Kashuv a letter stating that it reserved the right to rescind its offer of admission, and they did just that on June 3rd, which is a decision that Kashuv shared and criticized heavily in his own Twitter account. Our second story tonight comes from Oberlin, Ohio, where the president of the college has just said a recent jury judgment for the college to pay $11 million to a local bakery for libel and interference in their business practices will not be the final outcome. The trouble started for Oberlin College back in November 2016 when 3 of its black students were suspected of stealing from the local bakery and were later arrested and pled guilty. Before the guilty pleas were entered, however, Oberlin students organized a protest outside the bakery, calling the bakery owners racist. Faculty and administrators at the college allegedly helped organize and support the protest. They communicated negatively about the bakery via college emails, which were subpoenaed and became a critical piece of evidence in the case. Our last story comes tonight from USC's Sol Price College of Public Policy. Recently, the Price Women and Allies student organization sent out a campus-wide email invitation to an event titled Coffee in Title IX, during which the presenters wanted to share details of Title IX. In the email invitation, the organizers wrote that we should believe survivors, believed to be a reference to the next day's testimony by Ford before Congress. Professor James Moore within the college replied all and included in his response to all the recipients that accusers sometimes lie. His comments were received very poorly as being insensitive and incendiary. There was heavy criticism and calls for Professor Moore to be fired, but there was no penalty as his comments were protected under free speech. So, ELPA 6872 is on your side, and we have a few tips to share with you tonight about using technology in higher education. Please remember that information written even in a shared Google Doc can make its way onto social media. Be careful what you say and what you write. Please also remember that inter-college emails can be subpoenaed and used in court. Sometimes it's best just to pick up the telephone. And finally, the function of reply all is rarely a good response to campus-wide email. It may be best to take a few moments to reflect before you respond and think carefully about who should be receiving that email. Have a great night and join us next week for ELPA 6872 News.